I still remember the exact moment my ex-wife walked back into my life. I'm Kevin, 28 years old, and I work as a junior analyst at one of the biggest corporations downtown. My job is boring most days. I spend hours staring at spreadsheets, drinking terrible coffee, and pretending to care about quarterly reports. But that Wednesday morning, everything felt different the second I stepped into our building's lobby. I was standing in line at the coffee cart, the one near the elevators that everyone uses. The barista knows my order by heart now. Medium black coffee, no sugar. I was checking my phone, scrolling through nothing important, when I heard a voice that made my blood run cold. Kevin, is that actually you? My whole body went stiff. I knew that voice. I'd heard it every day for 3 years when we were married. I heard it in my nightmares for months after she left. Slowly, I turned around. Maya stood there, 5 feet away, looking exactly like I remembered. Maybe even better. She wore an expensive-looking business suit, her hair perfectly styled, her makeup flawless. She looked successful, happy, everything I wasn't. But she wasn't alone. Next to her stood a man I recognized from her social media posts. Derek, tall, probably 6'2", wearing a suit that cost more than my monthly rent. His watch gleamed under the lobby lights. He had this relaxed confidence that made me feel small just standing near him. "Oh my God," Maya said, walking closer. "I had no idea you work here. What are the chances?" "Yeah," I managed to say. Small world. My heart was beating so fast, I thought she might hear it. The barista called my name, but I couldn't move. I just stood there like an idiot. Derek extended his hand toward me. "Derek Morrison, good to meet you." I shook his hand. His grip was firm. Of course it was. "Kevin works here?" Derek asked Maya, like I wasn't standing right there. "He does," she said, smiling at me with this look I couldn't quite read. "We used to be married." "Ah," Derek said, nodding slowly. "Right." There was this awful silence, the kind that makes your skin crawl. I grabbed my coffee from the counter just to have something to do with my hands. "So, Kevin," Maya said, tilting her head slightly, "how have you been? Are you seeing anyone?" The question hit me like a punch. I knew what she was really asking. She wanted to know if I was still alone. Still the same guy she'd left behind 6 months ago. Still pathetic. Actually, I heard myself say, "I'm dating someone." The words came out before I could stop them. I don't know why I said it. Pride, maybe. Or embarrassment. Or just pure stupid panic. Maya's eyebrows went up. "Really? That's surprising." Something about the way she said surprising made my face hot. "Yeah," I continued, digging myself deeper. "She works here too. We've been together for a while now." "Oh," Maya crossed her arms. "What's her name?" My mind went completely blank. I couldn't think of a single female name. Not one. "You'll meet her," I said quickly, "at the executive gala next Friday. You guys are coming to that, right?" Derek nodded. "We are. Maya's consulting firm just signed a partnership with your company. We'll definitely be there." "Great," I said, my voice sounding weird and high. "You can meet her then." Maya looked at me for a long moment. She had this tiny smile on her face. The kind of smile that said she didn't believe a single word I'd just said. "I'm looking forward to it," she finally said. "Come on, Derek. We have a meeting." They walked toward the elevators. Just before the doors closed, Maya glanced back at me. That look said everything. She knew I was lying. She knew I was still alone. She knew she'd won. I stood there in the lobby, holding my coffee, realizing what I'd just done. I'd promised to bring a girlfriend to the gala. A girlfriend who didn't exist. In 9 days, I spent the rest of that day at my desk, unable to focus on anything. My coworker Mike asked me 3 times if I was okay. I just nodded and stared at my computer screen without seeing it. By 5 o'clock, I'd made a decision. A crazy, desperate, probably terrible decision. I was going to ask my CEO for help. Let me tell you about Veronica Hayes. She's 37 years old, which makes her 9 years older than me. She's the CEO of our entire company, the big boss, the person everyone either respects or fears, and usually both. I've worked here for 2 years, and I've probably spoken directly to Veronica maybe 5 times. Always about work, always brief. She's the kind of person who walks into a room and everyone straightens up automatically. She's beautiful, but not in an obvious way. She has these sharp, intelligent eyes that seem to see right through you. She dresses in perfectly tailored suits that probably cost more than my car. Her office is on the top floor, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the whole city. Everyone knows Veronica is single. It's one of those things people gossip about in the break room. Some people say she's married to her job. Others say she's too intimidating for anyone to approach. I've heard stories about guys who try to ask her out. She turned down every single one. I never thought about her that way. She was my CEO. That was it. But now, sitting at my desk, watching the clock tick towards 6, I couldn't think of anyone else to ask. Most people had left by the time I took the elevator to the top floor. My hand was shaking. I practiced what to say at least 20 times, but every version sounded stupid in my head. Her office door was partially open. I could see her inside, sitting at her huge desk, typing on her laptop. She looked focused, intense, like disturbing her might actually get me fired. I stood outside that door for at least 10 minutes, maybe 15, just try to force myself to knock. Finally, I did it. 3 quick knocks. Enter. Her voice came from inside. Firm, confident. I pushed the door open and stepped in. Her office was massive. One wall was entirely windows. Her desk looked like it belonged in a museum. Everything was organized perfectly. Veronica looked up from her laptop. Kevin, isn't it? I was surprised she knew my name. Yes, ma'am, I said. What can I do for you? Is this about the Henderson report? No, ma'am. It's something else. Something personal. She stopped typing, gave me her full attention. Personal? I took a breath. I need to ask you something. It's going to sound completely insane. I'm listening. So I told her everything about Maya showing up in the lobby, about Derek, about how Maya asked if I was seeing anyone and I panicked and lied, about promising to bring my girlfriend to the gala, about how that girlfriend didn't actually exist. Veronica listened without interrupting. Her face gave nothing away. When I finished, there was silence. Long, terrible silence. Let me make sure I understand, she finally said. You told your ex-wife you have a girlfriend, and now you need someone to pretend to be that girlfriend at our company gala next Friday. Yes, ma'am. I know how it sounds. It sounds ridiculous, she said. My heart sank. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have bothered you with this. I'll just figure something else out. I turned to leave. I didn't say no, Veronica said. I froze, turned back around. She was leaning back in her chair now, looking at me with an expression I couldn't read. You'd help me? I asked. On one condition. I stared at Veronica, trying to understand what was happening. My CEO, the most powerful person in this building, was actually considering helping me with my stupid problem. What condition? I asked. She stood up from her desk and walked around it. Each step was slow, measured. She stopped about 3 feet away from me, close enough that I could smell her perfume. Something expensive and subtle. One kiss, she said, looking directly into my eyes. After the gala is over, you give me 1 kiss. That's my price. My brain stopped working. Did she really just say that? All quiche. I repeated, my voice coming out weird. Yes, Kevin. 1 kiss. Take it or leave it. Her expression didn't change. She looked completely serious. I don't understand. Why would you want that? A small smile appeared on her face. Because I find you interesting. And because I'm curious what it would be like. I didn't know what to say. This was my CEO, my boss's boss's boss. And she was standing in her office, asking me to kiss her as payment for pretending to be my girlfriend. Is that a yes or a no? She asked. I thought about Maya's face in the lobby. That knowing smile. The way she looked at Derek like he was everything I wasn't. The humiliation of showing up to that gala alone, proving she was right about me. Deal, I said, extending my hand. Veronica shook it. Her grip was firm and warm. Good. Now sit down. If we're going to do this, we need to prepare properly. I sat in one of the leather chairs in front of her desk. She sat in the other one, turning it to face me. People are going to ask questions, she said. How we met, when we started dating, all of that. We need to have the same story, or no one will believe us. Right. That makes sense. She pulled out her phone and opened a notes app. Let's start with when. How long have we supposedly been together? Maybe 2 months? I suggested. 2 months is good. Not too new. Not too serious yet. Now, how did it start? I thought about it. We could say we were working late on a project together. The Westfield merger, Veronica said immediately. Remember that from 2 months ago? We both worked late for weeks on that. Yes, that's perfect. I remember you were there until midnight some nights. So here's our story, she said, typing in her phone. We were both working late on the Westfield merger. Everyone else had gone home. We ordered food and started talking about things besides work. We realized we had more in common than we thought. That's good, I said. So then what happened? She looked up from her phone. I made the first move. You did? Of course. I'm older than you, Kevin. I'm more experienced. In this type of relationship, it makes sense that the older person would be more confident, more direct. What type of relationship? I asked. An age gap relationship. I'm 37. You're 28. That's 9 years. People will notice. We can't pretend they won't. I hadn't really thought about the age thing. Does that bother you? Does it bother you? She asked back. No, I said honestly. Good. Then we'll own it. No apologizing, no acting ashamed. We're two adults who started dating. That's our story. We spent the next hour going over details. Where we had our first real date. A quiet Italian restaurant downtown. What we talked about. Our families, our goals, what we wanted from life. What we liked about each other. She was smart and driven. I was kind and genuine. By the time we finished, it was almost 8 at night. The building was empty except for security. This is a lot to remember, I said, looking at all the notes she'd typed. We'll practice, Veronica said. Starting tomorrow. Meet me in the executive break room during lunch. We'll go over everything until it feels natural. Okay. Thank you for doing this. Really? She stood up, which meant I should leave. But at the door, I turned back. Can I ask you something? I said. What? Why are you really helping me? Is it really just curiosity? Veronica was quiet for a moment. The confidence on her face slipped just slightly. Let's just say I understand what it's like to feel inadequate around Nex, she said quietly. I was engaged once. 5 years ago. He left me for someone younger. Said I care more about my career than our relationship. Maybe he was right, but it still hurt. I'm sorry, I said. Don't be. I built a good life after that. A successful one. But sometimes it's lonely at the top. She smiled, but it looked sad. Now go home, Kevin. We have a lot of work to do before Friday. The next day at lunch, I went to the executive break room. I'd never been in there before. It was nicer than the regular break room. Leather couches, a fancy coffee machine, and actual art on the walls. Veronica was already there, sitting at the small table by the window. She'd brought 2 salads from somewhere expensive. Sit, she said, pushing one toward me. We ate and practiced our story. She'd ask me a question like, how did I ask you out? And I'd answer based on what we planned. Then I'd ask her something, and she'd answer. At first, it felt awkward, like we were reading lines from a script. But after a while, something strange started happening. The conversation began to feel real. What's your favorite movie? I asked, going off script. The Godfather Part 2, she said without hesitating. Yours. Shawshank Redemption. Classic choice, she said, smiling. Why that one? I like stories about hope, I said. About people who don't give up even when everything is terrible. She looked at me differently then. That's a good answer. We started meeting every day during lunch. Sometimes we'd practice our story. Other times we'd just talk. I learned things about her I never would have guessed. She loved jazz music, but hated classical. She was terrified of spiders. She wanted to be a teacher when she was young, but got pushed into business by her family. What about you? She asked on Thursday. Why did you become an analyst? Is this what you wanted? Honestly? No. I wanted to be a writer. But that doesn't pay bills, so here I am. Do you still write? Sometimes. Late at night, when I can't sleep. What do you write about? People mostly. Their stories. Why they do what they do. She smiled. You're more interesting than I thought, Kevin. Is that a compliment? Yes. Don't let it go to your head. On Friday, 6 days before the gala, Veronica suggested something new. We need to practice being physical, she said. What do you mean? Couples touch each other. They hold hands. They stand close. If we're stiff and awkward at the gala, no one will believe us. We need to be comfortable with each other. My face got hot. Oh, right. That makes sense. Meet me at Rossi's Cafe tonight. 7 o'clock. We're normal clothes, not work clothes. That evening, I showed up at the cafe 15 minutes early. I wore jeans and a button-down shirt. I felt nervous in a way I couldn't explain. Veronica arrived right at 7. I almost didn't recognize her at first. She wore casual clothes too. Jeans, a simple sweater, her hair down instead of up. She looked younger, more relaxed, more like a regular person instead of my CEO. "Hey," she said, sitting across from me. "Hey." We ordered coffee. Then she reached across the table. "Hold my hand," she said. I reached out and took her hand. Her skin was soft and warm. This was the first time we'd really touched beyond a handshake. "Now look at me like you care about me," she instructed. I looked into her eyes. They were hazel with little flecks of gold in them. I'd never noticed that before. "How's this?" I asked. "Not bad, but try to relax. You look terrified." "I'm terrified." She laughed. Actually laughed. "Why?" "Because this feels real," I admitted. Her smile faded slightly. "It's just practice, Kevin. Just acting." "Right. Just acting." But sitting there, holding her hand, looking into her eyes, it didn't feel like acting at all. We practiced for an hour. She taught me how to put my arm around her shoulder naturally, how to lean in when she talked, like I was really interested in what she was saying. Small things that couples do without thinking. "You're learning fast," she said at one point. "I have a good teacher." Walking back to the parking lot afterward, she suddenly stopped. "Kevin, can I ask you something personal?" "Sure." "Why haven't you moved on from Maya?" "It's been 6 months." I thought about how to answer honestly. I guess because she made me feel like I wasn't good enough. Like I'd always be second place to someone better. Veronica turned to face me fully. The streetlight above us made her face glow slightly. "Listen carefully," she said. "You are good enough. You're smart. You work hard. You're honest and kind. Maya made a mistake. The right person will see your worth." "How do you know?" I asked quietly. "Because I see it," she said simply. Then she walked to her car, leaving me standing there with my heart beating way too fast. The week leading up to the gala passed in a blur of preparation and growing anticipation. Veronica and I continued our daily lunch meetings, refining our story until it felt natural. But something was changing between us. The practice smiles lingered a little longer. The casual touches felt less rehearsed. On Tuesday, she texted me during a particularly boring meeting. "Dinner tonight? We should practice in a more public setting." We met at a small bistro across town where nobody from work would see us. She arrived in casual clothes again, and I realized I preferred her this way. Less CEO, more just Veronica. "So," she said as we waited for our food, "tell me about your family. If people ask, you should know more than just the basics." "My mom's a teacher. 4th grade. My dad works in construction. They've been married 32 years. Very traditional, very stable." "What about yours?" "My father is a federal judge. My mother sits on 3 corporate boards. They wanted me to marry well, climb the social ladder. Instead, I climbed the corporate one." She paused. "They weren't happy when my engagement ended. Said I'd thrown away my best chance at a proper marriage." "That's terrible." "It taught me to stop living for their approval. I built this life on my own terms." She looked at me carefully. "Does it bother you that I'm more successful than you?" "No. Should it? Most men find it intimidating." "I'm not most men." She smiled, a real one that reached her eyes. "No, you're really not." We talked for 3 hours, forgetting about the practice entirely. She told me about her college years, her first job, the mistakes she'd made climbing the ladder. I told her about my failed marriage, my abandoned dreams of writing, my fear that I'd never be more than mediocre. "You're not mediocre, Kevin," she said firmly. "You're just afraid. There's a difference." Walking to our cars afterward, she slipped her hand into mine without a word. It felt natural. "Right. I'm starting to forget this is fake," I admitted. She squeezed my hand. "Me too." Wednesday brought an unexpected complication. I was grabbing coffee when Mike cornered me. "Dude, the rumor mill is going crazy. People are saying you're dating Veronica Hayes." My stomach dropped. "What?" "Someone saw you two having dinner last night." "Is it true?" I thought fast. "We're keeping it quiet for now. You know how office gossip is." "Kevin, man, be careful. Dating the CEO? That could blow up in your face." "I know what I'm doing." But did I? The line between pretending and reality was getting dangerously blurred. Thursday evening, Veronica called me to her office after hours. We have a problem, she said. People are already talking. We need to be absolutely convincing tomorrow night, or this whole thing falls apart. I know. I heard the gossip. There's something else. She looked uncomfortable. My ex will be at the gala. Richard, the one who left me. Oh, he's bringing his wife, the woman he left me for. She's 26. Her voice was tight. So now we're both facing our exes. This just got a lot more complicated. I walked around her desk and took her hands. Then we do this together. We show them both that we've moved on, that we're happy. Are you? Happy, I mean. The question hung in the air between us. I looked at her, really looked at her, at the vulnerability hiding behind her professional mask, at the woman who'd risked gossip and judgment to help me. When I'm with you, yeah, I am. She pulled me into a hug, surprising us both. Thank you, she whispered, for making this less scary. We stood like that for a long moment, her head against my chest, my arms around her. It should have felt awkward. Instead, it felt like coming home. The night of the gala, I changed my shirt 3 times before finally settling on a dark blue suit with a silver tie. I arrived at the Grand Meridian Hotel 30 minutes early, my hands shaking so badly I could barely straighten my tie in the bathroom mirror. The ballroom was already filling up when Veronica walked in. Time seemed to slow down. She wore a red gown that fit her perfectly, elegant and sophisticated. Her hair was pulled up in a style that showed her graceful neck. She looked like she belonged in a magazine, not in my life. She spotted me and walked over, her heels clicking on the marble floor. You look terrified, she said quietly. I'm terrified. Don't be. We practiced this. We know what we're doing. She linked her arm through mine, and I felt her warmth through the fabric of my jacket. Just follow my lead. We walked into the ballroom together. I felt people's eyes on us immediately. Whispers started spreading through the crowd like ripples in water. Kevin Walsh with Veronica Hayes, the junior analyst with the CEO. I saw Maya before she saw us. She was standing near the champagne fountain with Derek, wearing a red dress and laughing at something he'd said. Then her eyes found us, and her laughter died. Her face went pale, then red, then pale again. We walked straight toward them. I wanted to run in the opposite direction, but Veronica's hand on my arm kept me steady. Hello, Veronica said warmly, extending her hand to Maya. You must be Maya. I am Veronica Hayes. It's lovely to meet you. Maya shook her hand mechanically, staring at both of us like we were speaking a foreign language. You're his boss, she said. It wasn't a question. I am. And his girlfriend. Kevin's told me so much about you. The way Veronica said it, pleasant but with a tiny edge, made it clear she knew everything. Maya's eyes darted to me, then back to Veronica. He has. Of course. You were married for 3 years, weren't you? That's a significant part of someone's life. Derek stepped forward, offering his hand. Derek Morrison. Nice to meet you both. Veronica shook his hand with the same calm confidence she brought to every business meeting. Meanwhile, Maya was still staring at us, her mouth slightly open. You're older than him, she finally said. It came out almost like an accusation. Veronica didn't even blink. I'm 37. Kevin is 28. 9 years difference. She moved closer to me, placing her hand on my chest in a gesture that looked completely natural. But age becomes irrelevant when 2 people connect the way we have. Don't you think? Maya's face turned red. I suppose so. It was nice meeting you both, Veronica said smoothly. Kevin, should we find our table? She guided me away before either of them could respond. As we walked off, I heard Derek say to Maya, well, she's certainly impressive. We found our assigned table near the front of the ballroom. Veronica's hand was still on my arm, and I realized she was shaking slightly. Are you okay? I whispered. That was more intense than I expected, she admitted. She looked at you like you'd betrayed her. Good. That's what we wanted, right? Right. But something in her voice sounded uncertain. Throughout dinner, Veronica was perfect. She laughed at my stories, touched my hand when she talked, looked at me with warmth that seemed completely real. Other people at our table kept glancing at us, clearly curious but too polite to ask direct questions. So how did you 2 meet? One woman finally asked. We were together, I said. Well, yes, But how did it become romantic? Veronica smiled. We were working late on a project about 2 months ago. Exhausted, running on coffee and determination. Kevin ordered pizza for the team, and after everyone else left, we just started talking. Not about work, but about life. Music, books, dreams, things we never had time to discuss during normal business hours. And I realized I'd be crazy not to ask her to dinner, I added. He was very sweet about it, Veronica said, squeezing my hand. Nervous, but sweet. It was a good story, a believable story. But as I said the words, I realized how much I wished they were true. After dinner, the dancing started. Veronica stood and offered me her hand. Shall we? My heart hammered as I led her onto the dance floor. I put one hand on her waist, held her other hand, and we began to move to the slow music. You're doing great, she whispered. So are you. I've had a lot of practice pretending to be confident. You're not pretending right now, I said. How do you know? Because I can feel your hand shaking. She looked up at me, and for a moment, the noise and the people and everything else faded away. It was just us, moving together in a way that felt natural and right. Kevin, I need to tell you something, she said quietly. What? This doesn't feel like acting anymore. My breath caught. What do you mean? I mean, when I'm with you, when you hold my hand or look at me or make me laugh, it feels real. And that scares me. Why does it scare you? Because in one day, this is supposed to be over. We go back to being CEO and employee. We pretend tonight never happened. But I don't think I can do that. I pulled her slightly closer. Then don't. Kevin, I'm not acting either, Veronica. I haven't been for days. Maybe I never was. She stopped dancing, right there in the middle of the floor. People were watching us, but I didn't care. What are you saying? She whispered. I'm saying my feelings are real. I don't know when it happened. Maybe when you held my hand at the cafe. Maybe when you told me I was good enough. Maybe the first time you smiled at me like I was more than just an employee. But somewhere along the way, this stopped being fake for me. Her eyes were wide, shining with something that might have been tears or might have been hope. This is crazy. I know. You're 28. I'm your boss. People will talk. Let them talk. Kevin, I'm 9 years older than you. In 10 years, I'll be almost 50, and I'll be almost 40. So what? Veronica, I don't care about the numbers. I care about how I feel when I'm with you. Like I can breathe properly for the first time in months. Like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. A tear slid down her cheek. You're really not acting? Not even a little bit. She laughed and cried at the same time. I stopped acting 4 days ago. Maybe even earlier. I just didn't want to admit it. But Kevin, being with you made me feel something I haven't felt in years. Like maybe I don't have to choose between my career and having someone who cares about me. Like maybe I can have both. The song ended, but we stayed there, holding each other. So, what happens now? I asked. I don't know. We still have our deal. One kiss after tonight. I don't want it to be about the deal anymore. Neither do I. She looked around at all the people watching us, then back at me. Let's get out of here. We left through a side exit, ending up in the hotel's garden. String lights hung overhead, and the sound of the party was muffled by distance and foliage. We shouldn't, she said, but she didn't pull away when I moved closer. Probably not, I agreed. But I'm going to anyway. I kissed her, not because of any deal, not because anyone was watching, but because I wanted to, because being with her felt more right than anything in my life. She kissed me back, her hands in my hair, pulling me closer. When we finally broke apart, both breathless, she rested her forehead against mine. What do we do now? She whispered. We figure out. Together. People will talk. They'll say terrible things. Let them. I don't care what anyone thinks as long as I have you. She smiled through her tears. When did you get so brave? When I met someone worth being brave for. We stayed in that garden for another hour, talking about everything. About our fears and our hopes. About what dating would really look like. About office policies and potential complications. I'll have to recuse myself from any decisions about your career, she said. No promotions, no raises, nothing that could look like favoritism. I don't care about any of that. Edo, I won't compromise my integrity, even for this. Then we do it your way. Whatever rules you need to feel comfortable. She kissed me again, softer this time. Thank you for understanding. We finally went back inside to get our things. As we walked through the lobby, we ran straight into Richard and his young wife. "Veronica," he said, stopping short. "I didn't know you'd be here." "Richard." Her voice was ice. "This is Kevin, my boyfriend." I saw the surprise flash across his face. Saw him taking in the age difference, doing the math. "Nice to meet you," he said, but his tone said otherwise. His wife, blonde, young, exactly what Maya had implied I should want, smiled politely. But her eyes were cold. "You look happy," Richard said to Veronica, and he sounded almost confused by it. "I am," she said simply. "Very happy. Come on, Kevin. Let's go home." We walked out together, and I felt her relax once we were outside. "That felt good," she admitted. Facing him, realizing I didn't care anymore. "He doesn't matter. Not compared to this." She squeezed my hand, and we walked to her car. "Your place or mine?" she asked. "Yours, if that's okay." "More than okay." That night, we talked until dawn. About everything we'd avoided saying before. About whether this could really work. About the challenges ahead. About whether the risk was worth it. "Are you sure about this?" she asked as the sun started to rise. "Once we do this for real, there's no going back. Everyone will know. The gossip will be brutal." "I've never been more sure of anything," I said. "Even knowing it might affect your career, that people will say you're only with me for advancement. Let them say it. I know the truth. You know the truth. That's enough." She curled against me on her couch. "Okay then, let's do this. For real this time." "For real," I agreed. And I kissed her again, sealing the promise. The first few weeks after the gala were harder than I expected. The whispers at work became full conversations that stopped when I walked by. People stared at us in meetings. I saw the judgment in their eyes. My colleague Brandon pulled me aside one Tuesday afternoon. "Kevin, people are talking. They're saying you're only with her to climb the corporate ladder." I wanted to punch him. Instead, I kept my voice level. "People can say whatever they want. It doesn't change what's real. I'm just trying to warn you. This could blow up in your face." "Thanks for the concern," I said, walking away. The gossip didn't bother me as much as it bothered Veronica. I could see it wearing on her, even though she tried to hide it. Her smile would fade when she thought I wasn't looking. She'd stare at her computer screen without actually reading anything. One Thursday evening, after everyone had gone home, she called me to her office. The city lights sparkled behind her through the floor-to-ceiling windows. "Kevin, we need to talk." Those 4 words made my stomach drop. Nothing good ever followed that sentence. "About what?" I asked, even though I already knew. "About us. About all of this." She gestured vaguely at the space between us. "About the gossip. About everything we're dealing with." "Veronica," she held up her hand. "Please, just let me say this. I've been thinking a lot lately. About our age difference. About what that means long-term." I sat down in the chair across from her desk. "What are you really saying?" "I'm 37 years old, Kevin. In 3 years, I'll be 40. You'll still be 31. When I'm 50, you'll be 41. When I'm 60, you'll only be 51. Her voice cracked on that last number. "I know math, Veronica. Do you really understand what that means? I'll get gray hair first. Wrinkles first. Health problems first. I'll slow down while you're still young and energetic." I stood up and walked around her desk, pulling another chair close to hers so we were facing each other without that massive desk between us. "So what? You think I care about gray hair?" "You might. Someday. You might look at me and wish you'd chosen someone younger. Someone who could give you more years. Or I might look at you and feel grateful for every single year we do have together." She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I'd never seen her cry at work before. "People think I'm taking advantage of you. They think I'm some desperate older woman clinging to a younger man. Those people don't know anything about us. They don't see how you make me laugh. They don't know that you cry during animal rescue videos. They don't know that you sing off-key in the shower and think nobody can hear you." She laughed despite her tears. "You can hear that. Everyone can hear it. You're terrible. I am not. You really are. It's adorable." She took my hands in hers. Her fingers were cold, trembling slightly. "I'm scared, Kevin. I'm really scared. I haven't let myself care about someone like this in years. And now I care so much it terrifies me. What if you leave? What if I'm not enough?" "Veronica Hayes, you are the smartest, strongest, most incredible woman I've ever met. You run an entire company. You make decisions worth millions of dollars every day. But you're scared of this? Of us. Love is scarier than business. In business, I can predict outcomes. I can control variables. With love, I'm just as lost as everyone else. I pulled her close, wrapping my arms around her. She buried her face in my shoulder. Then we'll be lost together. We'll figure it out one day at a time. Some days will be hard. Some days people will say stupid things. But we'll get through it because what we have is worth fighting for. She pulled back to look at my face. You really believe that? I've never been more sure of anything. We sat there in her office for another hour, just talking about fears and hopes and everything in between. The next morning, my phone rang while I was making coffee. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello, Kevin. It's Maya. I nearly dropped my mug. We hadn't spoken since the gala 3 months ago. Maya, why are you calling? I need to see you. Can we meet? Please? It's important. Something in her voice sounded off. Desperate, maybe. Or sad. I don't think that's a good idea. Please, Kevin. Just 30 minutes. There's a coffee shop on 5th Street. The one we used to go to. I looked at my phone, thinking of Veronica. I should say no. I should hang up right now. Fine. One coffee. That's it. Thank you. I'll be there in an hour. I texted Veronica immediately. Maya wants to meet. Going to hear what she wants. I'll tell you everything after. Her response came back within seconds. Okay. I trust you. Be careful. That trust meant everything. Maya was already sitting at a corner table when I arrived. She looked different than at the gala. Thinner. Tired. The confidence she'd worn like armor that night was gone. Thanks for coming, she said as I sat down. What do you want, Maya? I made a terrible mistake. She paused. Derek and I broke up. I waited, not giving her anything. He wasn't who I thought he was. He was controlling. Actually, everything had to be his way. His schedule, his friends, his plans. I couldn't breathe. I'm sorry you went through that. And I was genuinely. Nobody deserved to be controlled. Being with him made me realize what I gave up. What we had, Kevin. We were good together. Were. Past tense. We could be good again. I miss you. I miss us. I looked at this woman who'd once meant everything to me. The woman I'd cried over for months. The woman whose social media posts had torn me apart piece by piece. And I felt nothing. No anger. No longing. Just a quiet sort of peace. Maya, I've moved on. Completely. She reached across the table for my hand, but I pulled back. With her? With your CEO? Come on, Kevin. She's 9 years older than you. That's not real. You're doing this to make me jealous, aren't you? Like that whole fake girlfriend thing at the gala. It's not fake anymore. It hasn't been fake for a long time. You can't be serious. This is just some fantasy. Older woman, younger man. It's exciting now, but it won't last. I kept my voice calm and steady. You're wrong about that. What Veronica and I have is more real than anything you and I ever had. Why? Because she's more experienced? More mature? Be realistic, Kevin. What kind of future can you possibly have with someone that much older? A happy one. That's the future I see. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Real ones, not the manipulative kind she used to use. I loved you, Kevin. I still love you. No, you don't. You love the idea of me now that Derek showed you what a bad relationship actually looks like. But that's not the same thing. That's not fair. It's completely fair. You left me because I wasn't successful enough. Not wealthy enough. Not impressive enough for your friends. Veronica loves me exactly as I am right now. She doesn't want to change me or mold me into something else. She accepts all of me. That's what love actually is. Please don't do this. Don't throw away everything we had. I stood up, leaving my untouched coffee on the table. I'm not throwing anything away. You already did that 6 months ago. I'm just moving forward with my life. I hope you find happiness, Maya. I really mean that. But you won't find it with me. I walked out of that coffee shop feeling 10 pounds lighter. The ghost of my failed marriage finally stopped haunting me. I called Veronica from my car. How did it go? She asked. She wanted me back. Said breaking up was a mistake. Silence on the other end. Then, quietly, what did you say? I told her I'm in love with someone else. Someone who actually values me. I could hear her smile through the phone. Good answer. Veronica, I'm ready. Ready for what? ready to stop hiding. I want to tell my parents about us. I want them to meet you. Another pause. Are you sure? That's a big step. I've never been more sure about anything. 2 weeks later, my parents drove up from the suburbs for dinner. I'd reserved a table at a nice restaurant, somewhere neutral where we could talk. I was so nervous I could barely tie my tie that morning. Veronica came over to my apartment to help me get ready. What if they hate you? I asked, pacing back and forth. Then they hate me. We'll deal with it. What if they think you're too old for me? Then we'll explain why age doesn't matter to us. Kevin, stop pacing. You're making me dizzy. I can't help it. These are my parents. She grabbed my shoulders, forcing me to look at her. Listen to me. Your parents love you. They want you to be happy. And I make you happy, right? More than anything. Then trust that they'll see that. And if they don't see it right away, they will eventually. We arrived at the restaurant first. I watched the door like a hawk, my leg bouncing under the table. When my parents walked in, my mom spotted me immediately. Her smile faded slightly when she saw Veronica sitting next to me. Mom, Dad, this is Veronica, my girlfriend. My mother's handshake was stiff and formal. My father just nodded, his face unreadable. Dinner started awkwardly. My mom kept staring at Veronica, not even trying to hide it. Finally, she set down her fork. How old are you, dear? I'm 37, Mrs. Walsh. 37, and Kevin is 28. My mom looked at me like I'd announced I was joining the circus. This isn't appropriate. She's too old for you. Mom, please. Veronica touched my arm gently. Let me handle this. She turned to my mother with the same calm confidence she used in board meetings. Mrs. Walsh, I completely understand your concern. The age difference is unusual. I won't pretend it isn't. But I love your son. He makes me laugh every single day. He challenges me to be better. He sees me as a person, not just as a CEO or a successful businesswoman. He makes me happier than I've been in years. But what about children? Marriage? A family? Have you thought about these things? My mother pressed. We've talked about all of it, I said. We know what we want, and we'll figure out the details together. My father, who'd been silent through all of this, finally spoke. Are you absolutely certain about this, son? I looked at Veronica, then back at my dad. I've never been more certain about anything in my entire life. She's it for me, Dad. He studied both of us for a long moment. Then, slowly, he smiled. Then we're happy for you both. If she makes you happy, that's what matters most. My mother took longer to come around. She asked Veronica a million questions throughout dinner. About her career, her past, her plans. Veronica answered everything honestly and patiently. By dessert, my mom's expression had softened. You really do care about him, she said. It wasn't a question. More than I thought I could care about anyone, Veronica replied. After dinner, my mom hugged me in the parking lot. She's good for you. I can see that. It'll take me some time to get used to this, but I can see she loves you. Thanks, Mom. That means everything. The months that followed were the best of my life. Veronica and I moved in together, combining our stuff into a comfortable apartment halfway between both our commutes. She had too many shoes. I had too many books. We argued about closet space and bathroom counter space, and who left dishes in the sink. Normal couple stuff that felt absolutely perfect. We'd cook dinner together on weeknights, usually burning something because we'd get distracted talking. She'd fall asleep on the couch during movies, denying it every time, even though I had video proof. I'd leave my socks on the floor, and she'd throw them at my head. We were building a life together, one ordinary day at a time. The gossip at work never completely stopped, but it faded to background noise we learned to ignore. Veronica made good on her word. She recused herself from any decisions about my career. I reported to a different executive now, ensuring everything stayed above board. But people could see we were happy. That softened the judgment, at least a little. One Saturday evening, about 14 months after that first kiss in the hotel garden, I came home to find Veronica on our tiny balcony. She was watching the sunset, lost in thought. Hey, I said, wrapping my arms around her from behind. What's going on in that brilliant brain? Just thinking about us, about how this all started. One fake girlfriend for one night. One kiss as payment. And now look at us. Regret any of it? I asked, even though I already knew the answer. She turned in my arms to face me. Not a single second. Best deal I ever made. The kiss. No, you wonderful idiot. Giving us a real chance. I pulled a small box from my pocket. Her eyes went wide, filling with tears instantly. Veronica Hayes, will you marry me? I know people will talk. I know we'll face challenges. I know our age difference will always be there. But I love you more than I knew it was possible to love someone. And I want to spend every day I have left on this earth making you as happy as you make me. She was crying and laughing and nodding all at once. Yes, yes, absolutely yes. I slipped the ring on her finger and she kissed me hard, her tears mixing with mine. I love you, Kevin. My fake boyfriend turned very real fiancé. I love you too, Veronica. My CEO turned girlfriend turned future wife. We got married 8 months later in a small ceremony with close friends and family. My parents cried happy tears. Her business partners looked surprised, but genuinely pleased. And yes, Maya sent a card wishing us well, which felt like the final chapter of that old story, closing for good. When people ask us now how we make it work with the age gap, we tell them the truth. Love doesn't follow the rules society tries to force on it. Age matters far less than respect, communication, and genuine connection. We talk about everything, the hard stuff and the easy stuff. We don't let problems grow in the dark. And we remember every single day that what we have is special, worth protecting, worth fighting for. Some of the best things in life come from the most unexpected places. A desperate lie to an ex-wife. A fake relationship for one night. One kiss that turned into forever. Veronica taught me that sometimes the person right in front of you, the one you never considered, might be exactly who you needed all along.